A group of friends was spending the day by a waterfall, laughing, relaxing, and capturing memories on camera. One girl had her phone out, recording everything. Suddenly, a strange sound echoed from the trees. She instinctively turned her camera toward the forest, but nothing unusual seemed to be there, so she went back to filming her friends. It wasn't until later that night, replaying the footage at home, that she noticed something unsettling. For just a moment, the camera had caught sight of what appeared to be a transparent woman standing among the trees, silently watching them. The strange part? None of them had seen anything with their own eyes. Only the camera did. Was it a trick of the mind, just pareidolia at work? Or had they unknowingly captured something truly paranormal? Out on a peaceful hike, someone stopped to snap a quick photo with their dog. But when they looked back at it later, they noticed something chilling. Lurking in the background was a shadowy figure with glowing eyes. Strangely, the dog stood perfectly calm, which many argued no trained retriever would ever do if something like that was nearby. To this day, no one knows where the photo truly came from, and the eerie mystery has never been solved. Living deep in the woods, this person began to notice eerie sounds echoing through the forest. The noise seemed to travel in short bursts, shifting east, pausing, then reappearing in new spots 4 different times before going completely silent. At first, the thought was that it might be a drone, but something about the pattern just didn't feel right. Later, someone suggested it could be nothing more than a male cicada calling for a mate. But after comparing it to cicada recordings, the mystery didn't seem to match. So what could these strange sounds be? While hiking through a quiet trail in Georgia, someone stumbled upon a sight that froze them in their tracks. Lying just off the path was what looked like a lifeless, half-naked body, covered in mud and dirt. Terrified, they immediately called the police. However, when the officers arrived, the shocking truth emerged. It wasn't a person at all. It was a discarded doll. Deputies later nicknamed it SAR and even cleaned it up at the sheriff's office. Luckily, this chilling discovery turned out to be nothing more than a creepy doll, and not something far darker. This man lives completely off the grid. No neighbors, no stores, nothing but miles of empty land. But last night, his gate camera picked up something chilling. A lone figure walking past his property around 11 p.m. At first, it looked strange enough. But by 3:44 a.m., the camera caught him again, this time wearing black gloves. The footage was turned over to the sheriff, who's now keeping watch over the area. Still, the real question remains. What was a man doing, that deep in the wilderness, in the middle of the night? And why the gloves? Could he be hiding something in the woods? Late one night, a man walked toward the parking lot to grab his car. But just as he got close, he froze. There, inside a tent, was a figure draped in white, completely motionless. The silence was suffocating, almost unnatural.
Nampakkan.
The place was deserted, Not a soul in sight. With his heart pounding, he pulled out his phone to record, knowing no one would believe him otherwise. Then, without looking back, he bolted for his car, shaken, unsettled, and desperate to get away. While exploring an abandoned armory deep in the woods, a Reddit user stumbled upon something straight out of a nightmare. A freshly dug, human-sized hole, perfectly deep enough to bury someone. The place was remote, overgrown, and so far off the grid that no vehicle could even get near it. When they reported it, dispatch casually suggested it was just a relic hunter digging around. But then things took a darker turn. Multiple investigators called back, asking pointed questions. Had they seen anyone? Touched anything? They even mentioned setting up trail cameras and firmly warned the user never to return. Since that day, there's been nothing but silence, no updates, no answers, just chilling uncertainty. While hiking, this hiker wandered deep into the forest and stumbled upon something strange. Hidden behind the thick trees stood an old abandoned building, its windows shattered and walls covered in creeping vines. At first, it just looked like a forgotten ruin, but as the hiker moved closer, a chill crept in. Then it happened. In one of the broken windows, the hiker spotted a face, pale, still, silent, just staring back. For a moment, everything froze. The woods, the air, even the hiker's heartbeat felt louder than anything else. While out on a quiet hike, a man suddenly felt eyes on him and realized he wasn't alone.
Nice bear.
Just a few steps behind, a black bear was trailing him. Instead of panicking or running, he kept his cool, moving slowly forward while sneaking cautious glances over his shoulder. Luckily, the bear never charged, never chased, and after a tense walk through the woods, the man made it out safe. This past summer, a man set off on a solo camping trip deep in the Sierra Nevadas. He pitched his tent, built a fire, and even recorded a short video to reassure his girlfriend that he was safe and ready for the night. But when that video finally reached her the next morning, she noticed something he hadn't. Just beyond the glow of the fire pit, two faint eyes shimmered in the darkness, watching. The camper later admitted he felt uneasy that night, like he wasn't truly alone, but he never saw what was out there until those eyes were caught on camera. The question is, what was silently stalking him in the woods, and was he in real danger? While staying in a secluded cabin deep within the mountains of Mazamitla, Jalisco, this person experienced something deeply unsettling. From the corner of their eye, they spotted a humanoid figure lurking silently behind a car, just watching. Was it a stalker, a twisted prank, or something far more mysterious? They didn't dare step closer to find out. And honestly, who would? In early 2016, the quiet little town of Forest Grove, Oregon, was shaken by something truly bizarre. For 2 unsettling weeks, a chilling high-pitched noise swept through the streets near Gales Creek Road. Some described it as a warped flute, others as a metallic scream straight out of a nightmare. The sound came without warning, piercing through walls, rattling nerves, and leaving people wide awake at night. More than 200 residents reported hearing it. City crews scrambled for answers, checking gas lines, pipes, attic fans, and even local wildlife. But every lead turned up empty. And then, just as mysteriously as it began, the noise vanished. By late February, it was gone. By March, the city had closed the case. Yet the mystery remains. What was that sound that haunted Forest Grove? To this day, no one knows. A woman named Liliana, filming off the coast of Chile, captured something she couldn't explain. Her camera revealed dark figures gliding just beneath the surface of the waves. At first glance, many assumed it was just a pod of whales, but others swore the shapes looked almost human, eerily similar to mermaids. What makes it even stranger is the timing. This was recorded right after a massive earthquake struck off the coast of Russia. Could the quake have awakened something ancient hiding in the deep? In Indonesia, a man was spending a calm day at home when his dog suddenly erupted into frantic barking, staring down the road as if they sensed something he couldn't see. Stepping outside, he found nothing. The street was empty, but his curiosity wouldn't let it go, so he turned to his security camera footage. And that's when the chill set in. Clear as day, a ghost-like figure appeared, walking down the street. Not once, but twice. He quickly ruled out a camera glitch. After all, his reflection showed up clear. But here's the unsettling part. With his own eyes, he saw absolutely nothing. So the question remains, what did his dogs and his camera witness that day? While hiking near Escondido Falls in Malibu, a group of friends stumbled upon something unsettling. A strange, dark statue standing by the gate of a private house. It had an eerie presence, almost as if it was watching them. Brushing it off as nothing more than creepy yard art, they continued their hike. But later that night, on their way back, everything changed. That same figure was no longer by the gate. This time, it was standing across the road, blocking their path. Before they could even process what they were seeing, fear took over. They bolted into the night, too terrified to look back. So, what exactly did they witness out there? While hiking near North Sentinel Island, a man launched his drone and captured rare footage of the Sentinelese, an ancient, untouched tribe that has lived in isolation for thousands of years. With strict laws forbidding contact to protect them from outside diseases, seeing them on camera feels like peering into a world frozen in time. 3 miles deep into a silent research forest, a hiker suddenly froze, the stillness shattered by the wail of an air raid siren echoing through the trees. The sound was eerie, almost out of place, and they couldn't figure out why it was happening. With no answers, they just kept moving forward, uneasy but curious. Later, they discovered the truth. It wasn't a warning for lost hikers or a sign of danger at all. It was simply how the nearby town calls its first responders, since cell service out there is almost non-existent. Harmless, but unsettling in the moment. While hiking with her friend, a woman finally reached the breathtaking waterfall they had been chasing all day. They pulled out a camera to capture the moment.
Take your breath away? Take your breath away, right? Did it take your breath away? Take your breath away? Take your breath away, right? Did it take your breath away?
The words echoed over the roar of the falls. But then, something strange happened. Without warning, her ponytail flipped forward sharply, as though an unseen hand had pushed it. There was no wind. Nothing else in the frame moved. It was as if an invisible presence had brushed past her. She didn't flinch. She just kept walking, completely unaware. Was it a trick of air pressure? Or something we're not meant to understand? Deep in the remote jungles of Arunachal Pradesh's Jaw district, a lone hiker faced a life or death choice. The only way forward? a narrow, crumbling bridge, half devoured by raging floodwaters. Below, the river snarled and roared, its current ready to claim anyone foolish enough to slip. Every plank groaned under his weight. Every step could have been his last. But with his heart pounding like a war drum, he pushed forward and somehow, against the odds, emerged on the other side, alive. While hiking through a quiet forest trail with a friend, someone stepped into a hidden clearing and instantly froze. Hanging from a tree was something so disturbing, so out of place, it sent a chill down their spine. No one could explain why it was there, and its eerie presence in such a remote spot only made it more haunting. They didn't dare get closer. Instead, they turned and walked away, hearts racing, completely unnerved by what they'd just seen. On July 7th, 2025, YouTuber Shadow Hollow decided to take on a solo night hike through a dense, remote forest. At first, it was just another adventure for his channel, but before long, the night took a chilling turn.
The fuck? The fuck? Fuck that.
Then he froze. He saw something. From deep within the trees came strange, unrecognizable sounds, low, echoing, and wrong. Suddenly, two glowing eyes pierced the darkness ahead of them. Someone, or something, was watching him. The sounds grew louder, closer. Deciding not to take any chances, he turned to leave. But that's when he spotted it. Whatever it was, it broke into a sprint, charging straight toward him.
Shit, guys. Go.
Shadow Hollow didn't wait to get a better look. He ran, hard. Thankfully, he made it back to his car and sped away. But to this day, what or who was out there in that forest remains a mystery. One he'll never forget. One night, a farmer glanced out his window and spotted something unusual moving in the distance. Curious and uneasy, he reviewed the security footage, and what he saw sent a chill down his spine. A lone figure, draped in what looked like a long gown, was slowly gliding across his land. There was no flashlight, no source of light at all. And yet, they navigated the pitch-black, uneven terrain with eerie ease, never stumbling, never hesitating. Who or what could move like that in total darkness? And more importantly, why were they there at all? A lone hiker wandering through the remote backwoods of Virginia veered off the main trail and discovered something chilling. A moss-covered stone corridor, ancient and eerily out of place, nestled deep beneath the towering trees. At the corridor's end stood a rusted iron gate, looming like a forgotten warning. He snapped a photo and posted it on Reddit, asking if anyone else felt unsettled. The responses poured in. Everyone agreed. It didn't look like a barrier meant to keep people out. It felt more like it was built to contain something. No one knows who built it. No one knows why it's there. But maybe you have a theory. During a family hike at Shades State Park in Indiana, a man, his son, and his grandson found themselves on a muddy trail. Hoping to avoid the muck, he stepped just off the path in search of firmer ground. But in an instant, his leg plunged knee-deep into thick, sucking mud. Each attempt to pull free only dragged him deeper. With no branches to grab and nothing solid to hold onto, he was forced to lunge forward, clawing at the ground for escape. The mud clung so fiercely that it nearly tore off his boots and pants. Fortunately, his family was right there to help, because without them, he might still be stuck in that unforgiving grip. While hiking, a man stumbled upon a scene that instantly sent chills down his spine.
Look, bro, like what? Bro, this is crazy. This is crazy. Look at this. Bro, like, did somebody put something in the water? And it's all the way back out through there, bro. Look at all those fish. Look at all of these dead fish, bro. These are alive in this little spot, as y'all can see.
Before him, the water was littered with the bodies of dozens of fish, their silver scales reflecting the light in eerie stillness. From the water's edge and stretching far into the distance, lifeless forms floated, as if the entire pond had been poisoned overnight. Yet, in one small patch where fresh water trickled in, life still flickered, with minnows darting frantically, desperately clinging to survival. The rest of the pond, however, was eerily silent. No oil slick, no trash, no obvious signs of contamination. Just the unsettling. This man was exploring a haunted waterfall when he unknowingly captured something chilling on camera. For just a brief moment, a dark figure appears, then vanishes without a trace. Viewers noticed it looks eerily like a person standing near the falls. The first time the camera pans down, everything seems normal. But the second glance reveals the shadowy presence, and by the third, it's completely gone. So, was it just a trick of the light, or did he catch something paranormal lurking in the mist? On January, this woman set out to hike and camp deep in the Australian wilderness, but when night fell, everything changed. The wind roared through the trees, and she could swear something, or someone, was circling her tent.
I don't think I've slept one single minute the entire night. It's just so loud. There it is.
Every rustle, every snap of a twig made her heart race. Was it a wild animal, or something far more unsettling? By morning, she realized it might have just been her mind playing tricks on her. But that didn't change the fact that she hadn't slept a single minute. Exhausted, she pushed on with her hike, hoping her next campsite wouldn't feel quite so haunted by the unknown. Late one night, a man was driving through a dark, echoing tunnel when he witnessed something that defied all logic. Unable to believe what he saw, he quickly reviewed his dashcam footage, and there it was. A mysterious figure materialized out of nowhere, only to vanish as his car passed through it. Was it the lingering spirit of someone long gone? Or just an eerie trick of the light? What do you think happened that night? While strolling through his quiet neighborhood, a man stumbled upon something so strange, he had to pull out his phone and record it. What he captured looked eerily like a tiny ape, but according to him, no such animals exist anywhere nearby. Baffled, he posted the footage online, hoping someone could identify it. Yet, every comment only deepened the mystery. So, what do you think it could be? In 1988, Swiss businessman Gregor Spory set off for Egypt in search of something that could change everything he thought he knew about history. He scoured the Red Sea's shores, crawled through the narrow chambers of the Great Pyramid of Giza, and even bribed guards for the rare chance to spend a night beside Khufu's sarcophagus. There, Spory met an elderly man, said to be the descendant of a long line of tomb raiders, who unveiled a relic that defied belief. A 58-centimeter-long, mummified human-like finger. Spory paid $300 just for the privilege of photographing it. While scientists brushed it off as a hoax, the whispers of ancient giants refused to fade. And neither did the mystery that haunted him. After a long night of relentless rain that carried into the morning, something strange appeared.
All right, so this morning, me and my dad found these boot prints along our asphalt driveway. And it was a little strange. We were a little freaked out because we live in the woods, middle of nowhere. Yeah. And these footprints, we did some tests, and my dad is 5'11", size 12 shoe. And the prints are bigger than his shoe size. And the strides were much too large for his height. And yeah, here are the prints. I don't know if you can see them very well. It's not great visibility. I'm trying to find one with good visibility. That's kind of there. Walks along. Goes away. And it disappears right over here. I don't know why. Let me find a better print. That's a pretty vivid one right there. You can see the outline right there. The point with a little blank space in the middle, which I'll explain in the text below.
They inspected the prints. His father, standing 5 feet 11 inches and wearing size 12 shoes, couldn't match them. These were much bigger, and the stride was too long for anyone his height. Whoever or whatever made them, he adds, had to be at least 6 feet 3 inches, maybe wearing a size 13 or 14 boot. He scans the path where the prints continue in a perfect line, until they just vanish. No scuffs, no drag marks, gone. One print stands out. It's unusually clear. A defined toe, a blank spot where the heel lifts. Not your average hiking boot, not even modern. They look like something from the past, curved toes, strange spacing, almost identical to centuries-old military boots. And considering there's a cluster of war-era graves just beyond the woods, it begs the question, what kind of boots leave a trail through the rain and then disappear without a trace? They say some houses are better left forgotten. But this person couldn't resist exploring a crumbling, centuries-old home deep in the Scottish countryside. The walls were split with deep cracks, the roof sagged under years of neglect, and wildflowers clawed their way up to the shattered windows. As he stepped closer, something in the shadows caught his eye, behind the broken glass. Staring straight out was a pale face. It wasn't moving, it wasn't blinking, it was just watching. Was it a squatter? A lost soul still clinging to the ruins of its past life? Or Could this have been an apparition that refused to leave? What do you think this person saw that day? Two friends were hiking out filming for fun, just messing around, nothing out of the ordinary. But then, something happened that no one could explain. On camera, clear as day, a strange white mist, almost like a figure, suddenly appeared and then vanished just as quickly as it came. Here's the creepy part. In person, there was nothing there. Absolutely nothing. No fog, no smoke, no person. The place was empty, yet the camera caught something that our own eyes never saw. 1 second, the frame is clear. The next, it's like a ghost has just decided to walk right through. It wasn't a reflection. It wasn't a glitch. It was there, and then it wasn't. Was it paranormal? A spirit? Some kind of shadow from another world? Or just a trick of the light? Honestly, no one has an answer. But the footage speaks for itself, and once you see it, you might not want to be alone in the dark for a while. Haley wasn't looking for trouble, just a bit of mystery. The kind of harmless thrill people chase when they download the Randonautica app. But her harmless adventure in the Pennsylvania woods quickly spiraled into something out of a nightmare. She and a friend followed the app's coordinates deep into the trees. The forest was still, almost too still, the kind of silence that presses on your ears and makes every instinct in your body tighten. And then Haley felt it, the prickling sensation of unseen eyes.
I think we have to go over this bridge, and our location's a little down there. What the fuck? Oh, what the fuck? Should we keep going?
From between the dark trunks, a pale face emerged, a woman, just staring. Before they could process it, she vanished, only to reappear moments later, this time much farther away, and moving. Her walk became a run, then a sprint. The forest exploded with panic. Haley and her friend bolted, branches clawing at their arms, hearts pounding like war drums. They didn't stop until they were out of the woods, literally. That night, Haley deleted the app, for good. Some whisper she crossed paths with a forest witch. Others believe it was a restless spirit or something much darker hunting in those woods. What do you think? While hiking in the mountains of Uttarakhand, India, a hiker captured something terrifying on camera. A massive boulder suddenly broke free from the cliffside, tumbling down with a deafening roar. It smashed into smaller rocks, sending clouds of dust into the air and shaking the ground like a mini earthquake. Each impact sounded like thunder rolling through the valley. People nearby could only watch in shock, some scrambling away while others recorded the jaw-dropping moment. In just seconds, the peaceful mountain turned into a dangerous, unstoppable force, showing how quickly nature can change from calm to chaos. Years ago, this person's grandfather snapped a picture of an old building. Nothing unusual at first glance, but on the porch, barely visible, was what looked like a shadowy figure, an apparition that didn't belong. Not long after taking the photo, this person's grandfather fell mysteriously ill. Doctors couldn't name the disease. Whenever someone tried to talk to him, he would freeze, eyes wide, claiming he could see the image in his mind, like a flash of blinding light. Exactly 7 days later, he was gone. Was it a coincidence? Or did this photograph capture something that marked him for death? They thought it would just be a harmless night of curiosity. 2 friends, a phone, and the infamous Randonautica app. The goal? Find a little mystery. The reality? They found something much worse. Their random coordinates led them deep into an eerily quiet area. No streetlights, no other cars, just shadows. But then, it happened.
go to this fucking quantum point, and this whole fucking person is Sky. Oh my fucking god, bitch! I can't.
What if the person shows up in my rear view camera?
No, bitch, I can't.
From the darkness, a strange figure emerged, pale, still, and almost watching. At first, it didn't move. Then slowly, it began walking toward their car, step by step, closer, closer. Panic set in. They slammed the car into gear, but the figure followed as if it knew exactly where they were going. Terrified, they sped off into the night, hearts racing, unsure if they just encountered a ghost, a djinn, or something far more sinister. While passing through a cemetery, a man spotted something so strange that he immediately pulled out his phone and started recording. There, between rows of weathered gravestones, sat a car, smashed and twisted like it had just been in a terrible crash. Its front bumper was pressed hard against an old headstone, and the headlights flickered weakly, casting shaky beams across the graves. The unsettling part: the car was empty. No driver, no passengers. Only the cold wind whispering through the trees, and the slow creak of the cemetery gates in the distance.
Hello? You alright? You okay? What the hell? What the fuck is going on here? There ain't nobody there. Miss? Hello?
It was the kind of scene that felt wrong, like something was watching from the shadows. He was in his tent, deep in the wilderness last summer, lying under a sky full of stars while the campfire outside faded to glowing embers. The forest was silent, almost too silent. Then, breaking the stillness, came a long, haunting howl. At first, he thought it was the wind, but then more howls followed, distant yet unmistakable. Wolves, calling to one another somewhere in the darkness. Inside the thin walls of the tent, every sound felt closer than it was. The howls weren't loud enough to feel dangerous, but they carried an eerie weight, like the forest itself was warning him to stay inside. While hiking through a dense, quiet forest, a hiker stumbled upon something he couldn't explain. At first, it looked like the outline of a tree, but then it moved, slowly, carefully, almost like it knew he was there. Curious but uneasy, he lifted his camera and zoomed in. That's when he saw it. This strange figure peeking from behind a tree. Its face didn't look quite human, but it wasn't an animal either. Just pale, still, and watching. Before he could react, the figure slipped back into the shadows, vanishing without a sound. Was it a lost person? Some strange forest creature? Or something far more unsettling? It's the dead of night, April 30th, 2022. The kind of night where the darkness feels heavier than usual. No streetlights, no moon, just pitch black silence. And then, something appears that should not be there. This person and a friend had just wrapped up their usual late-night game of carom at a buddy's place. Normally, they'd stay till 2 or 3 a.m., but that night they left earlier, around 1 a.m. Everything was calm until the bike engine went silent. That's when this person froze. Standing in the distance, near the backyard of a neighbor's house, was the silhouette of a woman. The lighting was weird enough to see her legs, but not her face. And she wasn't moving. At all. This person's instincts screamed to run, but before leaving, they somehow managed to pull out a phone and snap a few pictures. They still have them to this day. Looking at those photos now, the figure still looks like a woman, standing completely still under a tree by the river. But here's the thing, no one in their right mind would be standing there at that hour. Was it a ghost, a spirit, or something far stranger? While walking down a quiet trail, just enjoying the day, when, boom, right there in the middle of the path, a clown. Not a happy, balloon-making clown, but one that just stood there, like it was waiting. The moment this hiker saw it, the heart started pounding. The eyes scanned the trees, the bushes, every shadow, half expecting a bunch of creeps to jump out at any second. Every little rustle in the leaves suddenly felt suspicious. It wasn't just a trail ride anymore. It felt like stepping straight into the opening scene of a horror movie. While hiking deep in the wild, far from any town or road, this person found themselves surrounded by towering trees and an eerie silence that made every sound echo through the forest. That's when something strange happened. An encounter so unsettling, it ended up shared in a British Columbia hiking group on Facebook. On a remote trail in Vancouver Island, this person spotted a figure standing ahead. At first, it seemed like another hiker. But step by step, the details became more disturbing. The figure was tall, completely covered in thick dark hair, and stood perfectly still. It didn't move. It didn't speak. It only stared, a cold, unblinking glare that sent a shiver down the spine. A quick photo was taken, but the image raised more questions than answers. Some believe it was Bigfoot, the legendary creature rumored to roam Canada's wilderness. Others think it might have been a lost wanderer living far from society. Whatever it was, it didn't try to communicate. It just watched. And somewhere in those forests, it might still be watching. While hiking, this person was enjoying a quiet mountain trail when, out of nowhere, a blur of movement shot across the path. In that split second, sharp eyes caught a bobcat, leaping across the trail and disappearing down the mountainside ahead. For a moment, the peaceful hike turned into a heart-racing wildlife encounter. At first, the hiker thought the danger had passed. The bobcat's calls echoed through the trees, growing fainter and fainter with each step it took away. Pulling out a phone to record the eerie sounds seemed harmless enough, but that's when things took a turn. The noises stopped, then shifted direction. Suddenly, the calls were coming closer, louder. Every step made them feel less like distant echoes and more like a warning. Before long, the sound was right there, far too close for comfort. What started as a calm afternoon in nature became a pulse-pounding moment where every rustle in the bushes could mean a wild predator was just a few feet away. It happened on a quiet afternoon while hiking through a forest preserve near an old cemetery. The air felt heavy, like the woods were holding their breath. That's when the hiker stumbled across something strange. A massive shelter made entirely of twisted branches, almost like it had been woven together by hand, or something else. But that wasn't the worst part. Spread across the trees surrounding it were painted pentagrams, forming a perfect circle around the structure. The symbols looked old, weathered, yet somehow fresh enough to feel recent. Standing there, it felt as if the forest itself was watching. The hiker didn't stick around to find out more, and has never gone back. It was supposed to be just another quiet night in the Florida wilderness. The camper had set up for the evening, the fire glowing low, when something strange caught his eye near the edge of the camp. Just beyond the palms, half hidden in the shadows, stood something. At first it looked like part of the trees, until it moved. Dark, massive, and upright, it seemed to be watching. Some call it the skunk ape, Florida's version of Bigfoot. The figure didn't come closer, but the thick brush between them did little to hide its outline. The camper snapped a photo, heart pounding, knowing this wasn't something people would believe easily. Whatever it was, it's burned into memory. And into that picture. It was deep into the night on a quiet camping trip. The group had set up their tent in an open clearing, the only light coming from a small lantern inside. That's when they saw it.
Yo, what's...
Run! Run!
Guys, wait!
Run!
Oh.
A strange, humanoid figure moving just beyond the shadows. At first, it stood still, almost blending in with the darkness. But the moment it shifted, instinct took over. They bolted out of the tent, running into the night. When the person holding the camera finally turned back, the figure was there, framed in the glow of the tent light. Tall, thin, unnaturally still. Whether it was a prank, a wild animal, or something far stranger, no one stayed long enough to find out. They told Alex camping would be fun. Fresh air, starry skies, and the peaceful sounds of nature. But on the second night, while recording the dark, quiet forest around him, that's when it happened. A blood-curdling scream ripped through the silence. It didn't sound like any animal Alex had ever heard. It was sharp, human-like, and it came from deep within the trees. The kind of sound that freezes you in place before your brain even catches up. Was it just some wild creature defending its territory? Or was there something else? Something watching from the shadows? Whatever it was, Alex knew one thing. This camping trip wasn't going to end the way it started. This person's friend just got back from a camping trip deep in the woods. You know, those kinds of places where it's pitch black at night, and even the wind sounds like it's whispering at you. They sent over 2 photos from the trip, and at first, nothing seemed weird. But then we noticed something. In the first photo, right in the upper right corner, there was a face, a pale, almost human face, just watching. But here's the thing, when we looked at the second photo, taken only moments later, that face was gone. No sign of it at all. Could it have been a trick of the light? Or was something or someone out there in the darkness, watching them? During a camping trip, this guy decided to take a walk down a narrow trail, alone. The plan? Just a quick stroll to find a quiet spot to smoke. Nothing strange, right? But here's where it gets unsettling. As he's heading down the trail, he notices something ahead. At first, it just looks like a cluster of leaves or shadows tangled in the trees. But the longer he stares, the more it seems like a figure, not moving. Just standing there, half hidden in the woods, watching. He's completely alone. At least that's what he thought. And the creepy part? He can't tell if it's even human. Was it just a trick of the light? Or was someone or something waiting on that trail? To this day, that image is burned into his mind. A camping trip that was supposed to be peaceful turned into a moment he'll never forget. It's the middle of last summer, deep in an Italian forest. One camper, let's call them the unlucky one, is fast asleep inside a tent. Not a cabin, not a camper van, just thin fabric between them and the unknown. In the middle of the night, the unlucky one wakes up and grabs their phone to record something strange. From the other side of the tent there's a sound, slow, heavy, and rhythmic. A breathing noise. Not the wind, not a friend, and not the unlucky camper's breath. The kind of sound that makes your stomach drop because it's close. All through the video, that strange breathing keeps going. No footsteps, no rustling, just this steady, unnatural exhale. Like something was standing right outside the tent, waiting. And the creepiest part? Out there in the forest, in the dark, you can't see anything, but you can hear everything. In the quiet bushlands of southeast Queensland, there's a legend that still gives some folks chills. Locals whisper about a tiny Aboriginal spirit known as the Junjudi, said to hide among the thick trees and watch you from the shadows. Some swear they've seen its small figure darting between the leaves, while others insist it's nothing more than a strange piece of wood that somehow took the shape of something alive.
I think I used to bring a lantern for this, didn't I? Yeah, it broke. That's what I get, another lantern for doing exactly this.
Whether it's a trick of the eyes or a real spirit guarding the land, one thing's for sure. If you ever find yourself alone in the bush out here, you'll feel like you're being watched. A couple of buddies and this camper were out camping under the wide, star-filled skies of Utah. To kill time, the storyteller decided to snap a few long exposure shots. You know, the kind where the camera soaks in every bit of light and detail over several seconds. Everything seemed normal at first, just some cool streaks of light, the glow of the campfire, and the silhouettes of friends. But when the storyteller zoomed in on one of the photos, things got weird. There, right next to one of the campers, was a figure. Not just any figure. It looked like a hand was reaching out and touching them. The creepiest part? None of them saw anyone there in real life. With the naked eye, that spot was empty. It was like whatever it was only wanted to be seen after the moment had passed. Hidden in the pixels of a photograph. Imagine you're setting up your tent for the night. The birds are chirping, everything seems peaceful, and then you look up and see this thing. What appears to be a massive, twisted tree wrapped around a tree trunk. The bark has grown in such a strange way that it looks exactly like a giant snake or some mysterious forest monster, giving the tree the world's scariest hug. While camping in the middle of a quiet Indonesian village, the moon hangs high, the air is still, and the dead are close. It's a real tradition. In certain places, when someone passes away, their body isn't buried right away. Instead, it's wrapped tightly in white cloth, almost like a mummy, and left above ground. Sometimes for days, sometimes longer. Locals believe the spirit stays nearby, watching over loved ones. But as the night deepens, the thought lingers. Just a few feet away lies someone who has already crossed over. That's what it's like to camp among the dead. Instead of setting up your cozy tent on solid ground like most campers do, these daredevils have stretched colorful hammocks between ropes, hundreds and hundreds of feet above the ground. We're talking about sleeping in the air, suspended like they're floating in a dream, except this dream is very real. Now, the person who shared this amazing photo said something super honest. They mentioned that even though heights don't usually bother them, this particular adventure made their stomach do flip-flops. And honestly, can you blame them? Just imagine trying to fall asleep while swaying gently in the breeze, knowing that far, far below you is nothing but air and mountain peaks. While camping, this person woke up to something straight out of a creepy story. At first, everything seemed calm. The air was cool, the forest was quiet, and the tent felt safe. But then came a strange, light tapping sound, like soft rain. Except there were no clouds in the sky. That's when the real shock hit. The entire outside of the tent was moving. Hundreds of tiny spiders crawling in every direction, their little legs glinting in the early morning light. It was like the tent had been wrapped in a living, crawling blanket. They weren't inside, yet. But it was clear they'd come from somewhere close by. Maybe a hidden nest disturbed in the night. Imagine stepping out and realizing you're surrounded, the ground and tent walls alive with movement. For this camper, that peaceful night in nature had suddenly turned into a skin-crawling moment they'd never forget. While hiking through one of the favorite spots, Buchanan Pass in the Indian Peaks Wilderness, not far from Estes Park and the Lions Boulder area, something strange happened. Out of nowhere, a massive knocking sound echoed through the forest, and I'm not talking about the soft tap-tap of a woodpecker. No, this was loud. Here's the weird part. There are plenty of animals out here, from woodpeckers to squirrels to elk. But this knocking? It didn't sound like any of them. It was deep, rhythmic, almost intentional. The longer she listened, the stranger it felt. Was it just a tree swaying and knocking against another? Is some large animal making its presence known? Or something else entirely? While camping, this person spotted something that made their stomach drop. Out in the middle of the forest, two masked men stood in the shadows, heavily armed, just playing around with their weapons like it was all some sick joke. It didn't feel random. It almost looked staged, like they wanted someone to notice them. Not taking any chances, the campers zipped the tent shut, stayed inside, and didn't make a sound for the rest of the day. Every rustle of leaves, every snapping twig outside made the silence inside feel heavier, and the thought kept creeping in. Were those masked men still out there, watching? In the summer of 2017, 30-year-old Ivan set out alone into the dense forests of Russia's Shatura district, an area known for its quiet lakes, tangled woods, and eerie silences. He never returned. When he missed his expected arrival home, his family sounded the alarm, prompting a search party to comb the forest for days. But the woods gave up no clues, no tracks, no gear, nothing. Eventually, the hunt was called off, and Ivan's disappearance slipped into the shadows of mystery. 2 years later, in 2019, another hiker wandered those same trails and stumbled upon something chilling. Half buried under a blanket of rotting leaves lay a human skeleton. The remains were soon confirmed to be Ivan. But it wasn't just the bones that were unsettling. Around the body and nearby trees were multiple sets of handcuffs, heavy chains, and padlocks. Even stranger, his tent sat not far from the grim discovery. Investigators floated the bizarre theory that Ivan may have been attempting a dangerous Houdini-style escape challenge, binding himself and trying to break free in isolation. One friend even admitted it sounded like something Ivan might do, recalling how he loved testing extreme survival skills. But others weren't convinced. Some believe Ivan wasn't playing a game at all, that he was murdered, and the macabre setup was staged to look like a tragic stunt gone wrong. To this day, his official cause of death remains a mystery, and the forest keeps its secrets. A Reddit user shared a chilling trail cam photo their cousin had shown them. A lone woman in a flowing white dress, standing eerily still in the middle of the woods. Some brushed it off as a harmless cosplay or an elaborate prank, but others had a far darker theory. Maybe it was something or someone trying to lure people deeper into the forest. The strange part? The cousin lives in an extremely remote area, making it almost impossible for anyone to be out there by chance. In the end, no one could explain it. But many are convinced it wasn't human at all. While exploring an old, abandoned silo under the cover of night, a group of friends froze in their tracks. From the darkness came the faint sound of a girl's voice, soft, trembling, calling for help. She claimed her phone was dead and that she couldn't find anyone. At first it seemed real, too real, but there was something off, a strange, mechanical edge in her tone, not quite human. That's when it hit them.
Found a skinwalker at the silos.
Can you help me? I lost my friend.
Huh?
I lost my friend.
What?
My phone said, can you please help me?
What?
Hello?
Hello? Yo, hold on. Chill.
I can't see.
No, that's Skinwalker, bro. That's Skinwalker.
Where are you guys?
Is you a skinwalker?
Go down. You're going down, bro.
Are you a skinwalker?
This way. Hey. Hold up.
My friend.
This wasn't a person. The air grew colder. None of them waited for an answer. They bolted out of the silo, hearts pounding, never looking back. It could be a clever recording meant to lure them in, or maybe it was something far worse, a mimic waiting for its prey. After losing her husband, Mrs. Collins began noticing unsettling occurrences in her home. At first, it was just strange noises and odd movements. But when these incidents started happening around her 1-year-old daughter, she decided to record them.
Robert.
Come on.
You said come on. Well, come on, Dad. I ain't scared. Show me where he at.
Here.
What's up there?
Here. Dada.
Girl.
Here.
What you, what?
See.
What? Girl. She just be doing it. I don't. What's up there, baby?
Dada.
So Daddy followed us to grandma's house. I just turned the camera on and then, cause I see her when she start pointing, she'll point up to the sky.
Dada. Mama. Dada.
Where? There's nobody over there right.
Some believe this was a tender visit from her late husband. Others fear it could be something far more sinister, an entity pretending to be him. But here's the unsettling part. No one had ever told the child her father had passed away. Mrs. Collins is certain it was her husband. On the way to a party, a man trailed behind his friend's car, casually filming the drive without thinking much of it. But a few seconds into the footage, something chilling appeared. Behind the vehicle ahead, a faint, motionless figure dressed in white stood eerily still. The video was grainy, yet the silhouette was unmistakable. Then, as if melting into the darkness, the figure slowly faded away. Neither of them noticed it in the moment, but both admitted the night had an unsettling, almost heavy feeling. Could what they captured be the reason why? A Redditor shared a chilling story about her sister's home deep in the woods. One night, her security camera caught something bizarre, a hazy, human-shaped mist that seemed to materialize out of nowhere and drift across the lens. Some commenters tried to explain it away as just a person distorted by the camera, but here's the problem. No one was supposed to be anywhere near that house, and the middle of a dense forest isn't exactly a casual hangout spot. Even stranger, the figure didn't walk in from the side, it simply appeared. No clear explanation fits, leaving one unsettling possibility lingering in the air: something paranormal. In 2022, a man set up a trail camera deep in a remote forest, hoping to capture rare glimpses of wildlife. But when he reviewed the footage, one clip stopped him cold: a strange humanoid figure that didn't look entirely human. The location was so secluded and the camera so well hidden that it seemed impossible for anyone to just stumble across it. He wrestled with two explanations. Maybe some random person had wandered through by pure chance, or maybe he'd caught something that wasn't human at all. And in his gut, he knew it was the latter. Deep in the heart of an untouched forest, a colossal hornet nest hung like nature's ticking time bomb. These weren't your average stingers. One wrong move and it could turn deadly. Yet in certain parts of the world, these hornets are a prized delicacy, making the gamble all the more tempting. Clad in heavy protective gear, the team braved the swarm, every step a test of nerve, until at last they secured and relocated the nest. Mission accomplished. On a late-night hike near an old forest cemetery, a group of friends decided to wander off the main trail. Drawn by curiosity, they began exploring the weathered graves, their flashlights sweeping over moss-covered headstones. One hiker paused to take a quick photo beside a crumbling marker, thinking nothing of it at the time. But when they later looked at the picture, their stomachs dropped. A faint, misty figure seemed to be rising from the earth right next to the grave. Several in the group recalled a sudden, bone-chilling drop in temperature, and that unsettling sensation of invisible eyes watching them. They left soon after, silent and uneasy. None of them has dared to go back. While vacationing in Santiago, Chile, a family decided to spend the evening at a lively beach luau in Viña del Mar. But amid the music, laughter, and ocean breeze, something strange stole the show.
¡Son los marcianos!
Uy, sí, qué raro.
¡Está en un árbol! ¡Mira, mira, mira! ¡La
Mira las luces que van. Grábenlo, niños.
¡Mira!
¿Qué es eso?
Una estrella fugaz, no cerro.
No, era como una nube.
Se desvaneció.
Two glowing orbs appeared in the night sky, drifting slowly, silently, and impossibly smooth. Heads tilted upward, conversations stopped, and the crowd collectively fell into stunned silence. No one could say what they were looking at. The skies were crystal clear, the lights were unlike anything familiar. Yet neither local space agencies nor aviation authorities ever explained. To this day, that eerie sight over the beach remains a mystery. When she was just 6 years old, a Reddit user visited Gettysburg and had an encounter she would never forget. Near Longstreet Tower, she spotted a faint, grayish figure who calmly introduced himself as John Reich. He claimed to be a World War I medic. He even warned her to stay away from a nearby rock wall before vanishing into thin air. Days later, while wandering through Gettysburg National Cemetery, she froze in shock. There it was, a headstone bearing the name John Reich. Years later, she shared her eerie childhood story online. That's when things took an even stranger turn. A woman stepped forward, claiming to be Reich's great-granddaughter. She confirmed he had served as a medic in World War I and later worked as a carpenter and taxi driver. Coincidence? Maybe. But honestly, I doubt it. A mysterious trail cam photo from California has been making waves on X, leaving people baffled over what exactly was caught on camera. Some swear it's proof of a dogman or even Bigfoot lurking in the wild. Sure, that's where the mind jumps first, but others have a more grounded theory. It's likely just a bear suffering from mange, a skin disease caused by mites that can make animals look eerily thin and nearly hairless. Sounds reasonable, but still, what if it wasn't? During a home renovation, one family stumbled onto a bizarre mystery hidden under more than a foot of pine needles. The previous owners, who'd lived there for 25 years, insisted they had never seen it before. At first glance, it looked like some ancient relic, maybe even something cursed. But a closer inspection revealed a $79.99 price tag and the name of artist Doris Beaver. Turns out, it was just a quirky, decorative tree face. Still, one question lingered. Who buried it so deep? And why? While scrolling through his trail cam footage, a man spotted something bizarre, something that made him do a double take. At first, it looked like a fairy? Surely, that couldn't be right. Curious, he posted the clip to Reddit, and the responses blew up. Most viewers swore it looked exactly like a tiny winged creature, but a few skeptics offered a more grounded theory. It was probably an owl swooping through the night with a rabbit in its claws. So, what's your take? Magical being or hungry bird? While kayaking down a roaring river, a kayaker is suddenly slammed against a massive boulder. The powerful current pins them underwater, making it nearly impossible to move. They're trapped, gasping for air, as the rushing water pushes harder and harder. Nearby, their friend spots the struggle and battles the fierce current, desperately trying to pull them free.
Are you okay?
Every second feels heavier, the river roaring like it's alive, and time is running out fast. While camping in the middle of a quiet Florida night, everything seemed calm. Marshmallows roasting, crickets chirping, the gentle sound of water nearby, until the surface began to ripple. At first, it looked like a fish, until glowing eyes started to appear. One pair, then another, then 10. Massive, dark shapes slid silently through the water, closing in. What was meant to be a peaceful night under the stars quickly turned into a terrifying standoff. A camper found himself trapped as huge alligators surrounded the area, their eyes locked on him, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. With nothing but a thin tent or camp chair between him and jaws powerful enough to pull someone into the water in seconds, every heartbeat felt louder, and every second felt longer. This wasn't just a scary story, it was a real-life, teeth-snapping close call that could have ended very badly.